Hey there, everyone. Welcome to a fun live stream. So I'm going to wait until a couple of you guys come in, but for the replay viewers, I'm going to be creating a video tomorrow, which will be probably up when you guys will see this next if you watch the replay. And I'm going to be coloring in a lot of images on today's live stream with you guys here. And then tomorrow you'll see the full video with all the projects, because I usually cut out lots of the coloring from my videos. So I thought it would be cool to do a live stream, sit and chat with you guys, and give you some coloring tips all in one so you guys can kind of see how I color live. And also, if you're interested in any of the stamps that I'm using in today's video, they'll be linked down below in the description with affiliate links. So if you guys want to purchase any, a little bit of the commission will go towards me with no extra cost to you guys. Okay, so Studio Katia released some new stamps today, and I'll be part of the blog hop tomorrow. It's a 2-day hop. Here are some of those fun images that she released. And also there's KOBI the little bear here and some little turtles. And I'm creating some cards for tomorrow's video. It's a little bit late, but I'm going to be creating them here and doing lots of coloring. And then I'll share my full card idea tomorrow with you guys. Well, hello there, everybody. Thanks for joining in. So I'll start off with this. You'll see that I cut lots of stamped lots of images because I'm going to do lots of coloring for tomorrow's cards. So I've got my Copic markers off to the side here, and I'll do some of my coloring with Copics, and then I'll do some with colored pencils too. Starting off with the Copics here, I'm going to go in with the darkest color, and I'll start off with this stingray here. I'm going to add a little bit of shading on the little top of the stingray. And then I'll add a little bit up here too. And I love these images. They're pretty simple, but they give lots of room for some coloring and to practice your different coloring techniques, which is really awesome. So I'll add a little bit of shading there, and I'll throw in some of that darker red down here too. And this is using some Copic markers, and I'll show you colored pencils in just a little bit. But I thought it would be kind of fun to do this live because I've never really shown a lot of coloring on my channel, just because I feel like it takes a lot for the video. But this way, if people want to see this, I'll send them over to this stream from the video tomorrow. So I thought it would be kind of a fun idea. Let me know what you guys think to see all this coloring live. So I'm going to go in and blend these two colors together. And I used colors that are pretty similar. This is R35, and the other one is R37. So it's just two little jumps down. So they blend really nicely together. And I'll show you guys how to blend together if the colors are completely different or a little stubborn in just a second here. Because I'll do lots of these fun sea creatures. Because the cards that I'm creating tomorrow need lots of fun colored images. So I'm going to color lots of images in today. Well, hey, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here today. Let me know which ones of you guys are crafting along with my stream here or coloring along. I'm doing this a little bit late because my blog post is going to go up tomorrow for these cards, but I just finished school and all my final exams. So it's summer for me now, and I'm ready to create lots of videos for you guys. Well, I'm glad most of you guys are enjoying watching this coloring. And sometimes if I notice that it's a little spotty or I want some darker areas, I'll go back in and really bring that contrast in there to bring that darker color back. So I'm just bringing some of that darker color back into here. And sometimes they can be a little bit stubborn with blending, but I find that if you go over twice or just kind of add a little bit of that darker color back in, it looks really nice. And I'm recording this on my camera too, so that during the video tomorrow, I'll kind of just speed through this, but I'll link people over to this stream here. Any plans for summer? Well, I'm going to be sharing lots of fun videos with you guys. I'm really excited to get back and share tons more video tutorials with you, because I feel like during this school year, there's not a ton, but I'll definitely be doing some lives and some regular videos over here on YouTube with you guys. I'll go back in here. I don't love how I kind of did that one streak of light, so I'll add a little bit of this color back in here. Sometimes with coloring, especially for me, I find myself going back and forth between the colors until I really like it a ton. So there's that little stingray there. And then I'm going to go in with the 0 marker, and I'm just going to do little dots. I love doing this, and a lot of people are going to wonder why I took so much time to blend it. Then you really don't need that if you're going to do this afterwards, because I'm just going to go in and spot all these and just add a bunch of little spots. So adding these in here with this marker kind of moves away that color and kind of like makes little bubbles almost. So it makes a really cool texture on your images. So when I'm doing under the sea images like this, with this stingray here, you get really cool effects if you just touch the marker to that color there, you get that really fun texture. Let me hold it up. I hope you guys can see that. So that's super fun. I love doing this to images, especially for little under the sea guys or to give little texture to fur, things like that. It can be super fun. And I used to just do it with alcohol blending solution in a little marker, but I found that going in and buying this Copic one, it's different. It's a different ink than just alcohol blending solution, so it really reacts with those markers and is made to react with them. So it gives even a better effect than just regular alcohol blending solution would. So I'm just going in, I'm just going to touch this surface gently to that marker there. And there you go, you get that really cool texture there. And I love how that looks with the little texture on that stingray. Somebody said, "You're amazing. Having a channel is a ton of work, and for you to do it well in school is amazing." Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I love doing it, and it is quite a bit of work. I have to agree with that. But the payout is definitely one of my favorite parts. I love hearing from you guys and sharing my projects with you and hearing from all of you. So that makes it all worthwhile. So then I'm going to color in this little coral piece here. Nice texture, amazing technique. Thank you. I love that texture with that stingray there. I love that you can kind of resist and get some cool effects with that. So I'll add in some shading here. I'm just going in with that mid-tone marker. So usually I start with the darkest color, and then I'll go in with the mid-tone and then the lightest color too. So then I'll go in with this light kind of lime green color, and I'll bring that in and kind of blend it out here. And that just adds to the blending. So there you go. I just colored in that little coral there. First red stingray you've seen in real life. Yeah, I did it red because the waves are going to be blue, so I wanted it to really stand out from the waves. But you could definitely do it whatever color you wanted to. I just found that I colored it in blue earlier, but I really wanted to stand out nicely from those waves because it'll be one of the focal points on my card. You're with your 9-year-old watching. Awesome. Thank you so much for stopping in. So I'm just going to blend this out. And here you'll notice that the colors are a little bit different from each other, so they don't blend as well as I would like them to. So I'm going to go in with the darker blue, and I'll lay that onto my surface here, and I'll touch the lighter blue right to there. So you get kind of the blend in between there. This is just the tip-to-tip method or technique. And this just adds a little bit of that darker color onto this lighter marker. So you get that really easy blend there. And that way it blends a little bit nicer together. You could even bring a little bit more of that or bring some of that darker color back in. Sometimes I find when you go in a little too much with that lighter color, it kind of pulls away and removes some of that darker one. So I'll add that back into there. You just always want to make sure when you do that technique like that, you just want to make sure that the color is all out of it once you're finished. So there's no extra color from that darker marker onto the lighter one. So then I'll bring in that lightest color and blend that together. He's a modern Bob Ross and stingrays are in his world. I agree. So I'll add the little tentacles there in just this lighter color. Have I tried Spectrum Noirs? Are they difficult with blending? I've tried a lot of different alcohol markers. I always come back to my Copics, but I do use some of the other ones, or I have used some of the other ones in the past. I still use the Nuvo markers. I find that they blend kind of the best with alcohol markers or with Copics. I find they go along nicely in hand. I did struggle with the Spectrum Noirs though, and a couple other ones that I had tried. But you always want to kind of just buy whatever's budget friendly for you. However, Copics, even just buying a couple colors like this, like I don't have a ton of colors here. I just bought a couple, and you could really get lots of use out of them with just those few colors. And I have seen some videos where people compare kind of the investment wise and if it's kind of worth it. And in the end, Copics become kind of the best investment because you can add refill ink into them and things like that. So they kind of just become a tool. I'm too young to know about Bob Ross. I definitely know about him. I've seen some of those painting tutorials. Am I an art student or just naturally talented? I have just started when I was 11 years old. So it's been a couple of years. It's been about 4 or 5 years ever since I started card making. And I just kind of really developed my skill over that time. So I didn't always start with really nice cards in the beginning. In fact, I didn't really like them at all. But after lots of work and practice with card making and things like that, you really learn how to design cards and what looks good and what doesn't and things like that. So that really helps. Just lots of practice, which I really encourage. So I'm just coloring these in all fun, bright colors because I'm going to use them all on my card together. And I want them to be really bright and stand out from that blue water there. I can see lots of comments coming in here. I'm so fascinated by your stream. I just loudly said yes to your explanations. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys enjoy these streams. They're lots of fun to sit and chat with you guys. And I thought it would be fun to really just share this coloring with you guys today. Because like I said, I haven't really shared this before on my channel. An in-depth video like this, and I don't really talk too much about it. So going in depth like this can be really fun, and hopefully you guys are learning a little bit too. And like I said, I'll be up with a video tomorrow on the full cards that I created. I'm just doing some coloring. You just bought the whole set of Spectrum Noirs and are struggling, and you feel bad buying Copics now. Yeah, I would always recommend if you're going to purchase alcohol markers or things like that, try a few different brands and then really go in and find the brand you really like, because sometimes it can be difficult if you buy a whole set and then don't really love them. I've done that too, though. I know the feeling. But I assure you that Copics are a wonderful investment. Maybe just buy one at first and see if alcohol marker blending is for you. And then if you like them, maybe buy a few more markers and kind of invest a little bit more into them. I'm going to color this little guy yellow. How do you know which colors blend? You have a huge problem with that. Well, it can be a little bit difficult, especially at first, to know which colors that blend. I bought mine in a set. So there was colors that kind of nicely went together already. I know that can be sometimes hard to choose the colors, but I would use, a little chart or things like that to kind of decide or determine which colors go nicely together. If you look at the numbers here, this one's 915. And then to blend this out, I'll use a 911. So it's just a few steps down. And that's kind of how you can really see how it blends nicely. I know there are lots of other Copic artists on YouTube, though, that do a really better job than me explaining on how to really find colors that blend nicely together. So be sure to check those out. And also, I'll share in a little bit how to blend out two different colors that really don't go really well together. So I'll kind of share how to do that. And if there are a couple of shades too light, like you can do the tip-to-tip technique like I shared just a little while ago. So there's this little yellow fish here. That one's lots of fun. I've seen all my videos. They're so helpful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a little bit stressful, Beth. Thanks for your comment. It can be a little bit difficult to sometimes get videos up, but I really think it's a lot of fun. And it's something that I've enjoyed doing ever since I was little. I love doing the filming and the editing and the crafting. So it's really not a dread for me to get a video done. It's more kind of, I find the hardest part is finding the inspiration or ideas to make the cards. Because after you create so many videos, it can be kind of hard to come up with a completely new idea. But once I've got that, I'm ready to create my card. Sometimes it's just staring at the stamp sets for a little while, wondering what's going to work with them, and then finding a technique that you love. Am I a cartoonist? No, these are stamps that people have drawn. This is from Studio Katia here. So this is their release. It released today, and I'm going to be part of a blog hop using these images tomorrow. But I just wanted to give you guys a look at how I'm coloring these images in, because I won't give a full tutorial in the video tomorrow. So I'll send people over to this video if they want to see how everything was colored in. You're just starting at nearly 50 with no art history behind you. Well, I didn't have much art history when I started either. It's really just a lot of experimenting and finding your style and, seeing what you love. I would recommend, looking at other people's cards first and maybe kind of trying to create what they created and then see if you love what you're doing. And if you do, maybe that's your style. And you don't want to always copy people's cards or really share those that you've copied. But you can kind of use them at home and see if that's something that you like and kind of use them as an inspiration for when you're first starting. So I'm going to go in with this gray here. I have troubles with my grays because some of mine are running out. So they're kind of harder to blend together. You know that a marker is kind of running out when the tip starts turning white and kind of losing color? That's how you know it's probably time to get a refill. Sometimes I'm just a little bit too lazy to buy them. Oh no, where am I in the comments? Okay, a yellow angelfish. The images are so incredibly sweet. I agree. I love these stamps from Studio Katia. She did such an awesome job at illustrating them and making them look super awesome and unique. Does my family help a lot with crafting videos? I do have my mom come in here every once in a while, or actually maybe every time I'm creating a card, and kind of decide some different things, whether we have a white card base or a colored or, what looks good or things like that. But they don't help per se with the filming too much. I've kind of learned how to, really do that on my own. But yeah, they're really supportive in it. So with this little starfish here, I'm doing kind of an orangey color. I'll blend this together. Then I'll add a little bit of pink in there, and I'll just do some little dots. I want a little bit of a darker color. Let's go in with this. This is more of a brighter kind of color, pink. And I'll just add in little dots here and there. Maybe that was a little too bright, so I'll kind of soften that out. I love that about alcohol markers is they're so forgiving. So when you're coloring in like that, if you make a couple mistakes, they're really nice and forgiving with them. Okay. Yeah, adding your own twists on, different ideas that you see is really fun too. Can be super awesome to, see somebody else's idea and kind of play along with that, but like add your own little artistic flair onto it. Okay. Oh, somebody said these are all on between 2 and 4 a.m. Well, my apologies. It's kind of hard to get everybody's time zone in here. So I'll try doing them at different times. And also, I'm not going to be doing a ton of these in the future. I thought it would just be cool to do this on here right now and step on and do some coloring live here. It seems like lots of you guys are enjoying this. which is awesome. I'm so glad most of you guys are loving this stream. So I'll go in here with this purple. I find sometimes these can be a little bit trickier colors to blend out. So then I'll go in here, and to kind of help it blend, I'll use some of this again and just add a couple little dots here and there. Doing this with sea creatures can be lots of fun, like I said. So there's that little guy there. Now with this, I'll show you guys how to blend two of those colors that don't quite go really nicely together. So I'll choose maybe, I'll go in with a yellow and kind of like a peachy color here. So these go nicely together, but since they're different, completely different colors, they can be a little bit harder to blend. Love spending the afternoon with you. Well, awesome. I love spending the afternoon with you guys as well. So I'll add some of the color into here. I'll just dot on some of this color and kind of blend it out. And then I want the bottom of this little guy to be this yellow color. So I'll bring in this yellow from the bottom. And right when we hit that midway point, you can kind of see they start blending a little bit. They don't blend perfectly. So I'll go back in with that pink color, add a little bit of color in. And then I'll go back in with the yellow and add that color in too. So really going back and forth can really help that blending. It looks kind of neon on the camera here, but I promise it's kind of like a softer color in real life. It's kind of hard to capture the true colors of these online. So with this little coral here, have I been creating videos since I'm 11? Yep. I've been creating ever since I was 11 years old and making videos and cards and stuff like that. Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you can kind of catch them at night. I apologize to hear that your pain is keeping you up though. So I'm gonna go in with kind of a teal color here. I'll color in some of this coral here in this teal kind of shade. And I'm doing these in all different colors because I want it to kind of be like a rainbow effect. When you open the card, I want it to be kind of like a burst of color here. And I cannot wait for you guys to see tomorrow why we colored all these in. I've never really done a card similar to this where it takes so many images and coloring and things like that and kind of interactive almost. But I'm excited for you guys to see it and see this fun idea come to life. And I'm super excited to finish it off and create it. You're 28 and you just started, you need help from me. That's awesome. Well, I encourage you to keep practicing. I've done that ever since I was little and it's been lots of fun. And I honestly still learn new things every day too. And one of the things that's really kept me in this industry and kept me really excited is all the new products. People release so many new products all the time. So it really keeps people and me really excited to keep, creating and things like that. It makes it super exciting. So then I'll do these two little fish. Thank you so much, guys. What got me started in making cards? So I've explained this a couple times before, but I'll quickly explain it here. And then hopefully in the future, I'll create kind of a video on my channel for the intro video, kind of explaining how. But I really just got started with alcohol inks from Tim Holtz. He makes some awesome alcohol inks with Ranger. And those got me started. I found those at a craft store. And I bought a few packs or colors of those and started creating with them. And then I looked on YouTube how to use those backgrounds that I was creating. And I found some fun card making videos there. So that kind of got me started. And then I went up to the store and bought a couple of supplies and really got me started from there. Do I create anything else or do I just do cards? Okay, well, I'm gonna move on to coloring another image in here. I really just kind of stick to cards. But if you guys would like, I would love to create other things on here too, but I really do like doing just cards and kind of showing you guys some fun techniques. So I'm gonna bring in some of these Nouveau markers because I ran out of browns in my Copics. They ran out of ink, so I need to refill those. But for now, I'm going to use these Nouveau markers. So I'm just going to test them off to the side to see which brown color combo I really like. Do I buy my own products, or do my parents buy me for them, or do I get them gifted from companies? Well, ever since I started, I bought my own supplies. So my parents never paid for them for me. So I really worked hard to, buy my own supplies and things like that. And sometimes companies do gift them to me. Like this Studio Katia release was given to me because I'm creating for the release. So sometimes that happens. But I do buy some of my supplies as well. As I'm using them. So it kind of just really depends on what it's for. If it's for, a blog hop like this, then I'll get them given to me as kind of a gift. And sometimes they'll be sent with no real expectation. And if I like them, then I'll use them. And if I don't, then I really won't. But I really do only share kind of the things that I really love. So I don't really share products that I don't like. So I won't use something if I don't love it. Have I used Bic markers? I actually use those. I used to use them kind of for school projects and things like that, but I don't use them too much for blending. I find that the color variety isn't, big enough to blend like this, but I feel like flat color lays are really nice with those. And if you are just starting and really just want to color some images in, Bic markers or Sharpies or things like that can give you that flat lay color because they don't have a ton of colors in them, which can kind of be helpful for shading, but they do have those nice colors and you get really flat lays because all alcohol markers really lay down that color nice and smoothly, which is one of the really awesome things about them. So I'll go in with the lightest color and blend all that out. So there's that little bear down here. Do I have another job or is school full-time with doing my creative? School is kind of full-time for me, and then this has kind of become a job. I'm going to go in with the Copic marker here, and this is just that little blending marker, and this will just add texture to that bear, which is really fun. So yeah, school is kind of my full-time priority, and then this has kind of become a little bit of a job for me too. And I make money with my affiliate links and some of the other jobs that I do too. You're all over the place with crafty things. That's awesome. I am sometimes too, but I don't share everything that I do here online. I tend to just share my card making projects on here. And I find that you guys, my audience, really takes well to the card making projects and things like that. I like to stick to kind of that niche. So I'll blend this out with this teal color here. Yeah, definitely it can be. That wasn't quite my goal when I went in, and I really feel like it, shouldn't be a goal to do that when you start, but it kind of just morphed into that. It kind of turned into that over time, but it never really started with that. I really just had the intentions of, kind of filming and sharing my projects and having fun on here, but it did morph into kind of almost a little job, which is lots of fun too. So I'll color these little circles in with yellow because teal goes nicely along with that. You enjoy my Tonic Studios releases too. That's awesome. I do lots of videos for them and with them, and I'm always excited to share some of their fun new products. So I'll color this one in with kind of an orangey tone. And then I'll bring that color over to there too. So you can see that bow on there has that color. And then I'll add a little bit of that pink color onto there too. And then I'll be able to quickly just blend this out. And I'll do that with my colorless blender, so you have that white area in the center. There we go. So you can see that fun blending on there. Thank you so much, guys. So I'm gonna do the next one in a green and teal color combination here. And since some of these dots are so small, I'm not doing any shading in there. I'm just gonna color that in normally. So I'll color that one in, and then I'll go in with this light blue color and kind of fill in some of that other space there. And like I said, these presents are so small that there's really not too much blending you could do without it bleeding into each other. So just adding lots of color can make it look lots of fun. Sometimes these brush nibs can be a little bit hard to get into all the detail, but I just find that doing the lightest pressure really just touches that to the surface and adds a little bit of ink that's needed. This is my most recent experiment with card making. I haven't shared quite yet what I'm creating, but I'm super excited to share it with you guys tomorrow. We're just doing some of this coloring today, and then I'll share the full project on my blog tomorrow with this fun Studio Katia release. "90% of your colors look muddy." Well, with alcohol markers, they shouldn't look muddy because they're not like a wet medium. So, but with watercolors, the colors can look muddy really easily. So you have to be kind of careful with that. I tend to go with the theory that warm colors look better together and cool colors look better together. So if you're going with a red, stick with like yellows or oranges or things like that, and that'll look really nice. And then if you're going with like a bluish kind of color, I tend to stick with greens and things like that. And that's kind of one thing that I really found worked well while I'm coloring. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading into there. So that always works well for me. And then also, yellows and blues always work well together. And kind of looking at a color wheel can really be a good idea too. So if you want to get a color wheel, you can find colors that go really nicely together on there. But I always say, more than anything, I like to stress this, that it's just paper. So if your colors do get muddy or anything like that, you can always throw it away and retry. And I always find that that's one of my favorite parts about creating. So you never have to, paper is not too expensive. So you can always retry and you never have to really stress about a project. It is a little bit sad when you're at the last leg of a project and it ruins, but there's always another try with it, which is really awesome. So here I'll go in with that darker teal color. Then I'll add this lighter blue into the middle there. And then I'll bring this together with a little bit of orange. Let's try up here. So that's kind of going out of my warm or cool areas, but that on the color wheel goes nicely together. So it'll usually look nice together on a card like this. And also really testing and playing with the mediums too, off to the side, can really help. So if you want to try coloring, colors that go nicely together, you can always try that off to the side to see if you really like it. I believe it's colors across from each other. I might be wrong though. I'm not quite sure, but I believe the colors across from each other complement each other really nicely, if I'm correct. But don't take my word for that. You can always watch a video on the color wheel and really see which colors go super nicely together. And I know there's little products you can buy too, where you can kind of like turn the wheel and find two different colors that go really nicely together. Not quite sure where I saw that, but I know there's lots of fun videos here kind of explaining the color wheel on YouTube. So you should be sure to check those out. And those will give lots of tips and tricks on that. So I'll add a little bit of darker green here too. on this light green. And also, another tip is to kind of bring the colors throughout. So if I'm using colors like this, I'll want to bring them throughout on the card instead of just kind of using a bunch of random colors, which I'm kind of doing today, so I shouldn't really say that. But I tend to stick with colors all throughout a card. So if I use, like, let's say this pink color, I'll use it later on the background or things like that to kind of bring it all together. You just bought a great color wheel on Simon Says Stamp. I think that might be the one that I'm talking about. Is it the one where you, turn it and find the color? I think that's where I saw it. Let's see. For this top gift here, I think I'll do a little bit of yellow to bring that yellow that I used on that gift back in. And I'm no expert on the color wheel, though. This is just kind of what I've found works really nicely for me. So I just wanted to show that. So yep, that's the one. Okay, awesome. Well, I know that one looked really great when I saw it. So if you guys are looking for a color wheel, be sure to check out Simon Says Stamp. Because I saw that one and I was really kind of inspired by it. It kind of chooses the colors for you almost. You can also really play with colors that look well together or colors you want to experiment with or try out. And also I want to mention, in case if you guys are new or just joining in right now, I'm just coloring in some images live and giving you guys lots of tips and kind of chatting so that tomorrow when I create the video using this, you guys will all be able to stop over by this video and check out this for the live coloring if you guys like that. Because sometimes I go through and I go really speedy fast in those videos through the coloring. But I want to save your guys' time. But if you guys have a little bit of time, and I know lots of you guys like seeing coloring live, I'll link over to this video. So again, I brought this marker back in on that bear to kind of rough it up and give it some more texture there. Do I have a favorite glue? Oh, so frustrating to get shipping. I agree, it is a little bit frustrating with the shipping costs, but sometimes it's worth it to, pay for a product like that. I bet you guys can make your own color wheel too, though, if you go online and, print one out and then get like a little spinner thing and create it like that. That can be a fun idea too. Do I have a favorite glue? Okay. I don't use liquid glue a ton. I love using tape runners for most of my cards. I do love that like Sook Wang Be Creative tape. That stuff is super sticky. I also just love tape runners. But for glue, I do love the Collage medium in the matte color from Tim Holtz and Ranger, I believe. That medium is super wonderful for adhering things together onto your cards. Love the cheerful colors in the presents. I agree. So these balloons and the presents are going to be on the same card. So I'm going to color this in and bring some of the colors that I did in the presents onto these balloons. So that's another way to kind of pull it all together and bring everything back full circle to make sure your card kind of matches and looks really nice together. So that can be another tip to make sure that you guys get colors that you really like together on your cards. And hopefully these cards turn out as I'm hoping them to. But so far the coloring is looking pretty nice. Sometimes my coloring doesn't turn out really great, so this is starting off pretty promising. How do I figure out where the shading goes? Wow, this yellow color looks really bright on the camera. It's actually really light in real life, but it's making it out to look like it's super bright. So how do I figure out where the shading goes? I don't really use a light source. Usually I just do it kind of at one edge of the card, and then I'll do that on all the balloons or like the presents. I kind of go in from the edges. But I don't usually do anything super, realistic or anything. I tend to keep it pretty simple when I'm doing coloring like this. And I know lots of other people do too, but there are some people that do their shading just perfect, and that looks awesome as well. But I just kind of have fun with it and add a shadow kind of wherever. But I do find that like where a body part meets another body part on like an animal or things like that, then I'll add shading in between there. And some stamp companies will be super nice and provide you with lines, kind of inside images and things like that, where you can add your shading to too. So that can sometimes be super helpful. And if you don't have a final light color, sometimes bringing this blending medium solution in can be really helpful. I'll bring that color back in because I want it really nice and dark in that corner. The bear needs a companion to lead him or he'll bump into something. I know, I just love this image because of that. It's so funny. And I think it's part of a series. I used the KOBI bear, which I love. You guys know how much I love little critters. So I used the KOBI bear before in like a Christmas setting, and she creates them in all different kind of settings with the fun little character there. And I love when stamp companies get little characters like that. So sometimes if you go a little bit too heavy on the ink, it can kind of bleed out like that. That's not the stamp ink's fault. That's just because you really saturated the paper a ton. So that can sometimes be the issue. And sometimes you can save it from continuing to move with your heat tool. So I'll be right back. I'm going to heat this up quick. So sometimes by doing that, you can really save that from going out. And if you put that blending solution on the outside there, it can kind of push that ink back in. See, it's pretty magical. Look. So most of that ink on the edge there disappeared. And then going back in with the heat tool. So I'll be right back. So that's just a really fun and simple way to fix that edge there. And by adding the heat tool on there, the ink stops moving. So you don't get any more bleeding then. Do I color up a bunch of stuff with a specific project in mind? Yep, this one has a specific project. Sometimes, or usually I don't color things in with, nothing in mind. Usually I always have a project. So this one's for a blog hop tomorrow that I'm creating. It's a little bit late, but yep, this one's for tomorrow's blog hop with Studio Katia. So yeah, you can really do that with, even if a little bit of your Copic marker goes outside of the line, it can be really helpful to bring it back in with just doing that with like your heat tool, bringing that out, and then stopping it from moving, and then blending that color back in with the blending tool. So then with this balloon, I did that tip-to-tip technique again. And you can see that gives lots of fun color there, and it kind of almost creates a medium tone for you. So I'll go back in. I wanted that color a little bit darker in that corner. And then I'll blend that out to nothing there. I'll just add a touch of that darker color to the bottom. Yeah, my dog gives their comments, definitely. Lots of you guys said they wanted to start crafting. I agree. Maybe I think they want to get in on the crafting over here. So I think for this last color, what other colors did I use on here? So I did that green. I'll do an orangey kind of color because I did that orangey tone on there a couple times. So I'll bring in, we want kind of a peach. So I'll bring in this darker orange, and then I'll blend it in with this yellow orangey kind of color here. And then I'll blend that out with, where's that? This peachy kind of tone here. And that blends it all together really nicely there. And that looks just like that color that I used on those balloons. So I really like to bring the colors full circle when I'm using them like this. And going back and forth can really help your Copics to blend. So don't be afraid to do more than one layer. Sometimes it's kind of needed. Give them a couple seconds to kind of blend out too once you're complete. So I think that I'm just gonna do those balloons. Maybe I'll color in a couple presents here. I know I already did those presents with the bear, but I want to do at least a couple onto here. I think because I'll use these on the card, I'm thinking. I'm so excited for you guys to see it tomorrow. I think it'll be lots of fun. I'm hoping, at least. Hopefully they turn out really nicely. I actually had a different idea in mind at first this morning. This can kind of be like, sometimes a lot of work goes into a video. So I created, I'll show you these two little stingrays here, and I'll still probably create a card out of them with this fun kind of like sequin confetti glitter that Studio Katia just released. But it involved so much work to cut these out with the X-Acto. And I did one, I'll show you guys. I'm just giving you a sneak peek because I'm not going to use these anymore because I know that it's really difficult to cut these out, and even I was struggling with them. But this was another one that I created, and I did this technique a long time ago with doing, sequins that don't move, are just glued down, but then with this window over top and that little bear. But sometimes it can be really difficult to cut these out. So I found a super hard time to cut this out, and I thought that it wasn't going to really work out for you guys. So I moved on to this next idea here. But maybe in the future I'll do this with dies, so it's easier to cut out. But there wasn't a die to cut out, the gifts, as they're usually just to cut out the outside. There was a die to cut this one, but you still have to X-Acto knife that. So I'll come out with a different video in the future sharing that, because I know Studio Katia has lots of fun sequins. So I'll be able to share that in the future, but I thought I'd give you a sneak peek on here, just because you'll probably be seeing that again in the future. I've done it once already, and I was about to upload the video for it, but the products were sold out then, so I didn't get to upload it at all because it was like an exclusive. But I'll be sure to try to get a video out like that in the future. That's a little bit easier to create, Well, I'm glad you guys all liked those. They are really difficult to create though, so that's why I left that out. The shiny stuff, this stuff is not foil. This is like sequin, kind of confetti glitter. I'll share it with you guys here. And I think it's super awesome. So these are the Studio Katia, what are they called exactly? Chunky glitter, and then, yeah, they're both called chunky confetti glitter. This one's smaller and this one's got more in it. Bigger and smaller pieces. So you can really see those in there. These are lots of fun. So here are all the balloons that I created. And then with the balloons, I'm gonna do a little bit of a highlight in each one of those darker areas. So to do that, I'm just taking my blending marker here from the Copics. And I'll just add that little line there. So instead of going around it and not, coloring that area in, it can be really easy to just remove that color instead. So I'll just do that on all the balloons here. Doesn't have to be super perfect, but I think that looks awesome with those balloon lights, going in all those different directions like the regular balloons do. Yeah, that stuff really does sparkle. Where am I from? I'm from Wisconsin. Where do I get my inspiration? So usually I just look at the products and then I get kind of inspiration from that. I try not too much to look at other people's stuff because then it can kind of affect my work. So sometimes I go on Pinterest a little bit to kind of look for ideas or things like that. And sometimes I'll go on YouTube and search up, I won't really watch a ton of videos, but I'll search for, most popular search terms. So that I can kind of see what people want from that. And sometimes I ask you guys too. So it kind of all depends, what I'm doing for the video. But most of the time I just see the products and kind of come up with an idea from that. So what do you guys think? Should I color in one more thing? Should I color in some little turtles here? Maybe just one? We're already 50 minutes in, so maybe I'll save these for tomorrow's video. Color. Okay. Well, I guess you guys want to see one more, so I guess I'll color in these turtles here. But I want to do these. Actually, no, I think I'm going to do them all in the same Copic marker. So I did link the I linked to the colored pencils, but I think I'll do them all on Copics because I want them all to be on the same card, and I don't want it to look kind of, you know, a little bit weird or different. So I think I'll just actually, you know what? I'm going to do it in colored pencil because I think I'll do these on a separate card instead of including them all in one. So I'll do some turtles with my colored pencils and blending pen. Okay, awesome. So lots of you guys want to see these turtles. So I keep my colored pencils in these little bins, and they're stackable. So it's lots of fun. This is how I keep them, and I keep them, notice, warm colors, cool colors, and then neutrals. So I keep them like that to know kind of which ones go really nicely together. And that's kind of usually how I work. And then also I want to introduce you guys to this. I did a video in the past on this. This is an alcohol ink blending pen. I have all the stuff you need linked to colored with colored pencils too. So that'll be all linked down below as well. But I took the alcohol ink blending pen, which comes empty. You pull off this nib really easily. It comes out really easily. It's made to do that. And then I added in some Gamsol. So this is for blending colored pencils. Now, usually people use, you know, paper stumps or things like that. But I found that it was easier to use a marker like this. So I'll link that all down below in case if you guys are interested. So having that here inside makes it so instead of, you know, sanding the color off, you can easily scribble any color, excess color off and move really quickly into the next color. And they don't wear down like the blending stumps do. So like I said, if you guys are interested in that or any of the stamps, there's all linked down below with affiliate links. So if you want to support me, I get a little percentage of the profits there with no cost, extra cost to you, which is really awesome. So I'll bring in some color here. I'm going to start off with the darkest tone. Go in with that. They're usually a color darkest to lightest, like this. With most blending mediums, so I'll go in with that darkest color there. And I haven't colored with the colored pencils and Gamsol in a while. So I forgot kind of what works super well with it. So we might have to experiment a little bit. I know papers really can sometimes change how things work. So maybe I don't know if I used it on Bristol or not last time, so we'll kind of check it out here. But then I'll go in with a lighter color too. I like doing it all at once, even though you can definitely go back in with other colors after you're done with this Gamsol, which is really nice. And I found that going in with a little bit of a darker pressure on the outside works really nicely. And then just filling in the rest of the image with a really light shadow really works nicely with the Gamsol, because I find that sometimes the Gamsol doesn't blend the color out, you know, all the way. So having that little extra color there kind of helps it not just be white. So I'll go in with that Gamsol blending marker, and then to make sure that I'm not getting too dark of a color and that it all blends out, I go off to the side and wipe off any excess darker color so that it doesn't get everywhere, you know? That way we keep a nice clean, light color when we're blending here. When I first started, I always told people I would never use Gamsol with colored pencils because it blends it too much. And again, this looks neon green on my camera, but it's actually really just a light green. That's so weird. It's really hard to, you know, get the right colors on camera. I wish you guys could see all this in person, honestly. So I'll go in, I'll blend this next little turtle's rim of his shell. And then I'll do the same thing with the little legs here. And I colored that all in the same way. With Gamsol, it's really easy. You don't have to worry too much about pressures. I just do kind of a medium, even tone pressure. And that works really nicely for the Gamsol because you're blending it all out anyway. So look off to the edge. I just scribble out my color until the marker runs blank. That's my favorite part about this. I would really encourage anybody to get this pen and fill it with Gamsol. It works so much better than the blending stumps, especially for me. I find that the blending stumps don't work at all for me. Then for the next thing, for the little bottom of his shell, I'll go in with some brown here, and then I'll bring in a lighter tan color. to fill that rest in. Then I'll go in and blend that all out too. So I find that works really nicely. And it is a little bit squeaky, but I find that, you know, that's an okay sacrifice for this fun effect. So I'll go in here. Usually I think this part is darker. So I'll add in that darker shading to that turtle's back there. And I'll just quickly go in. I don't have a pencil sharpener up here, so not all my pencils are super sharp, but they still do work nicely for coloring like this. Awesome. How about the colored pencils and blending pen and Gamsol? It doesn't come with anything inside of it, so you have to fill it up with the Gamsol in there. Oh, are you talking about the Copic blending pen? I'm not sure quite what you're referring to, but the Copic blending pen doesn't work with this because the medium is completely different than what will react with colored pencils. What pencils am I using? I'm using the Prismacolor pencils, and I think these went down in price, if I'm not mistaken. On Amazon, they're pretty cheap for a large pack of these, but a viewer did send me these a long time ago, so I'm super thankful for that. When I was first kind of starting out, somebody offered me these because they had bought a larger set, so I got to get these fun colored pencils, which is really super kind. Thank you for showing different color mediums. Of course, I love showing different, ways to use coloring mediums like this. And in the past, I've shared using Crayola colored pencils too. So if you guys are younger or you're more on a budget and aren't too sure about colored pencils or don't really want to spend a ton of money on them, Crayola can actually be really nice. Like I know Christina Werner does some watercoloring with the Crayola watercolors, which look really nice. It's all about how you use them. So the Crayola colored pencils work really nice too. They come in huge sets, so you can buy them in, or the smaller ones. And it's really just all about the pressure and how you blend and things like that. And you can create some really cool cards. And I actually have a video sharing that. A while back I created it. So I'll link that somewhere here on screen after the video is over, so you guys can see really how to do that. So I'll go in with a lighter blue here for the little hat. It's almost like a grayish kind of color. And then I'll go in with an orange too to tie it all in. And a little bit of, let's do actually kind of like a reddish color here. Oh, okay. Exactly what I'm doing now with the Gamsol. Awesome. Yeah, that works really super nice. And I have these colored pencils linked down below too, and the alcohol markers that I was using. So if you guys are interested, as well as the stamps. So if you guys are interested in that, they're all down there too. Am I going to fussy cut these? Nope, I have the dies to go along with them. So I'll be die cutting them with that little edge, but I love fussy cutting too. So I do that as well a lot with fussy cutting. Sometimes even I'll have the dies sometimes, and I'll just go in and fussy cut them anyway. Sometimes I find that fussy cutting is even easier for me than, I didn't love this hat, so I'm gonna retry that. Sometimes I find that fussy cutting for me is even easier than, doing just regular die cutting. So sometimes I'll just go in and do that too. It kind of just all depends on what I'm using. Now today I'll die cut these because I want it done super fast, as I have that video deadline tomorrow. I'm not sure if I like that birthday one too. Maybe I'll just keep it one tone. Maybe I'll just have to do like orange and just do that, and then just do kind of some shading with it. There we go. I think I like that one probably the best. Maybe you could even add, see, sometimes I overdo it. Maybe you can add little dots in there though. Nope, I'm just gonna leave it actually. That didn't really show up. Do I recommend what snips? Okay, so I have my Tim Holtz ones. I lost the black pair of the little ones. I still have yet to find them. But I have the red one here, and these work really nice. They come in black now, which looks awesome. And these smaller ones work really nice for fussy cutting. Believe it or not, sometimes I even go in with the large snips for fussy cutting, which sounds just plain out right dumb. It sounds really stupid, but these actually work really nicely, I find, for fussy cutting. Just using kind of this inner corner of them, I find that just going around and you get a bigger cut, which works really nicely. If something super intricate, it's not going to work with this, but for, you know, less detailed images, these work kind of nicely too, which sounds weird. And then I've always been using these since I started too. And I like these because your hand gets a break with that spring inside of them. So these are just Fiskars. But I know if you're shopping at Tonic, I know they have a pair like this with spring in them too, which works really nicely. You need anger management when it comes to fussy cutting. So yeah, the coordinating dies are really nice. I agree with that for sure. They work wonders. So I'll go in with this orange color that I was just using. Oh, there was a little bit of teal on that. Well, I kind of like that anyway. So I'll just keep it. Then I'll go in with a little bit of blue here. And I'm totally, maybe that's why I don't like how this looks. I'm going outside of my rule of warm colors together and cool colors. And I think that's why I'm not loving how this looks. It's not my favorite like that. I think do I have a cricket or silhouette? Nope, I tend to just stick with the coordinating dies or just fussy cutting. I'm with lots of people on that one. I know that lots of people love those machines, but when it comes to me, I don't want to have to be in the middle of a crafting project and have to, you know, turn on a machine and, you know, fix the different ways that it works or things like that. And so I'd rather just run it through my manual die cutting machine or hand cut it, which is really easy for me. But I know lots of people do find success with those machines, but I can't. I don't see myself ever using one of those really, unless if I'm creating my own things. If it's other people's designs, I like to use the dies that they've made. So here I'll use kind of like a reddish pink color into there. And I think I'll like that a little bit more with this fun little turtle here. Yeah, I've got nothing against those machines, but just not for me, I don't think. So here's that fun coloring. I think I like that pink and orange one better than the blue and orange one. I think it looks a little bit better there. Yeah, so I've got nothing against those machines. Just, I don't think they're quite right for me. Maybe I'll color another one of these in. What do you guys think? Maybe I'll color it in a different coloring. Maybe I'll color it in with a little bit of a red shell. Okay, I'll go in with a different color combo here. I think I'll add 2 of these turtles onto the front. Is what I'm thinking. So I'll color another one of these in. You know, because we want to color all the images I'm using with the card tomorrow. You think there are ones with red and browns? Well, that's awesome. Then it'll be a fun little realistic turtle here. So I'll go in with that same color, just a lighter pressure here. And I'll do the same thing with coloring these in, just like I did the other one. Now on the other side, I'll add that pinkish tone there. And then I'll go in here and I'm gonna blend these inside parts out with that Gamsol marker again. And look how fun that blends together. Oh, and also I do want to say with this marker Lots of people commented on the last video that I used after purchasing it. Lots of people were struggling to fill it up. You want to read the instructions in the back. It kind of tells you how many counts or how much to fill it up to. I think it might just say, yeah, it just says kind of do not overfill, count for this many seconds. I find adding a tiny bit at a time together, adding a little tiny bit at one time works the best. You don't want to overfill these because then they'll just start leaking all over the place. So just make sure that you add a little bit and then work with it and see if you like it, and then add a little bit more and until it's full to how much you like it. So then I'll bring in this red tone again. So I'm using this red a lot here. It's almost like a maroon kind of burgundy color. And then I'll bring that in and I'll add some shading all around here, but I'm just making sure not to go too dark. And then I'll add in a little bit of orange too. I feel like it needs a little bit of other color in here. That's like a different, it's still a warm color, but I think it needs a little bit of variation. So I'll just go in and I'll add some of that in there. Then I'll blend this all out here, so you guys can kind of see how that looks. You wish you could hang out with me and craft every day. Well, I wish I could hang out with you guys and craft every day. It's lots of fun. I love chatting with you guys on here and coloring. And after this, you better bet that I'm going to be hopping off in a mad rush to finish off these cards before tomorrow. And then I'll go in the bottom and I'll just add this little brown color in here too. And I'll add a little bit of a beige, just like I did for the green turtle. And that just finishes it off nicely. So the green turtle looks a little bit more natural. The red one's kind of just a little fun turtle, and I think I might use that too. Just add that onto the front along with his little green turtle companion. Awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think I'll end it here. So you guys got a look at coloring with Copics over here and coloring with the pencils. So like I said, if you guys are joining in right now and haven't been here the whole time, stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I'll show how I used all these in the card tomorrow, and I'll be linking over to this video for people to watch in case if they want to see the full coloring experience. So here's all the images. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. And I'll share these images all with you tomorrow with the full cards and ideas and how I use them all. So thank you all again so much for stopping by. It was so much fun chatting with you the whole day. All the products and stamps and markers and stuff that I used are linked down below in the description. So check down there if you want to purchase any of that stuff using my links, because I will get a little bit of a commission and it helps support me. So awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to end this stream here. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys. And I hope you enjoy. Bye.